the ranch, and the rulebook. I dreamed of owning a small ranch my entire life. After years of saving, I finally bought 10 acres of peaceful land at the edge of a new suburban community. The house was modest, but the wide open space made it perfect for my two horses, Daisy and Thunder. Every morning, I'd ride through the pastures as the sun painted the sky gold. That peace ended the moment Karen showed up. She was the self-appointed queen of the HOA, clipboard always in hand, eyes like a hawk scanning for violations. One morning, as I brushed Thunder, her silver SUV pulled into my driveway. "Good morning," she said, voice dripping with forced sweetness. "I'm here regarding your livestock." Livestock? I raised a brow. "You mean my horses?" Karen flipped open her HOA binder like it was the law of the land. "The community guidelines prohibit farm animals. Horses are included under Section 8, subparagraph C." I laughed, thinking she was joking. "Karen, this is a ranch. The listing even called it that." Her smile stiffened. "Well, rules are rules. You'll need to remove them within 7 days, or we'll be forced to fine you." My blood boiled. This land was zoned agricultural before your HOA even existed. You don't get to rewrite property rights. She shrugged. "The board disagrees. You can take it up with them, though I chair that board." And with that, she strutted back to her SUV like a sheriff enforcing order. That night, I sat on the porch with Daisy and Thunder grazing nearby. I wasn't about to let one power-hungry HOA tyrant destroy what I'd worked for. If Karen wanted to call them livestock, fine. I'd find a way to turn her rules against her. As I flipped through the HOA rulebook, an idea sparked, something clever, something Karen would hate. The next morning, I posted an ad online. "Coming soon, Sunny Trail Petting Zoo. Bring your kids to meet friendly animals." If Karen thought banning my horses would stop me, she had no idea what was coming next. The petting zoo plan. When Karen told me to get rid of my horses, she didn't realize she'd just inspired my best idea yet. That evening, I called my old college friend, Mia, who ran a local rescue shelter. "Hey," I said, "how many small animals are you looking to rehome?" "Plenty," Mia replied. "Goats, chickens, bunnies, why?" I grinned. "Because my ranch is about to become a petting zoo." Within a week, I'd fenced off sections of the land, built small enclosures, and turned the barn into a bright, welcoming space. Colorful signs went up: Sunny Trail Petting Zoo, open Saturdays. Daisy and Thunder weren't livestock anymore. They were therapy animals. Every creature had a name and a story. The first weekend was a huge success. Families arrived from all over, laughing, feeding goats, petting ponies, and snapping photos. Kids squealed with joy as chickens strutted around their feet. For the first time in months, my ranch buzzed with life and profit. Then Karen showed up. She stormed through the crowd, phone camera on, filming everything like a news reporter on a mission. "Excuse me, this is not authorized," she shouted. "This is a residential neighborhood, not a circus." I smiled sweetly. "Actually, Karen, I checked the HOA bylaws. It bans livestock, but it says nothing about domestic animals used for community enrichment." Her jaw dropped. "You're operating a business. That violates zoning laws." I pointed at the sign that read, "Free entry. Donations welcome." "It's not a business, Karen. It's a community service." The parents watching started clapping. One mother said, "My kids love this place. You should thank her for bringing something positive here." Karen's face turned red. "This isn't over," she hissed, retreating to her car. Over the next few days, she launched her crusade. Letters, complaints, photos. She even called the county inspector. But when he visited, he said with a smile, "Everything seems fine here, ma'am. These are domestic animals, not farm stock." Karen nearly fainted. That night, as I locked up, I saw her standing across the street, watching my ranch like a hawk. I could practically hear her plotting. But I wasn't backing down. I had the law, the community, and every happy child on my side. She'd wanted me to lose my horses. Instead, I'd created a place of joy that everyone, except her, loved. But I knew Karen. She wouldn't quit until she got her way. And I was ready for her next move. Karen's inspection invasion. By the third weekend, Sunny Trail Petting Zoo had become the talk of the town. Cars lined up down the street. Parents brought snacks for the animals. And even the local news did a small feature. Everyone loved it, except, of course, Karen. Her new strategy? Bureaucratic warfare. It started Monday morning. I woke up to find 3 vehicles parked outside, county inspectors, an animal control officer, and, naturally, Karen with her clipboard. She stood there grinning like she'd finally won the war. "Morning," I called, pretending to be cheerful. Karen smirked. "Morning indeed. I filed multiple complaints about code violations and unlicensed animal operations. These fine people are here to investigate." I crossed my arms. "Go right ahead." The inspectors walked through the property, checking pens, feed storage, and animal welfare. Everything was spotless. I'd made sure of it. The animals were healthy, the grounds clean, and every inch compliant with local ordinances. Karen followed them, muttering accusations under her breath. "That goat looks malnourished. The horses are too close to the fence. That chicken coop isn't regulation height." The animal control officer finally turned to her. "Ma'am, everything here meets and exceeds standards. These animals are well cared for." Karen's face froze. "What about zoning laws?" she demanded. The county inspector looked at me. "You're not charging admission, correct?" "Nope," I said proudly. "Just accepting voluntary donations." He smiled. "Then she's in the clear." Karen's jaw dropped open. "This is absurd. She's turning our neighborhood into a petting zoo." He chuckled. "Actually, it's bringing families together. Maybe more communities should have one." Karen's face turned crimson. Without another word, she stormed off toward her SUV, muttering something about calling the mayor. That night, I received an official letter, signed by Karen herself. Of course, stating that the HOA board would be holding an emergency meeting regarding animal nuisances. I laughed. She still hadn't realized. I'd already filed paperwork with the county, designating my property as an educational outreach facility. By the time she figured that out, I'd be untouchable. The next weekend, I hosted Pet the Pony Day. Hundreds came. Parents thanked me. Kids hugged goats. Karen stood across the street with a sign that read, "Say no to farm chaos." But the crowd just waved and smiled at her like she was part of the entertainment. The battle wasn't over, but I could feel victory coming. Karen had pushed me to my limit. Now it was time to push back harder. Karen's grand meltdown. Karen's emergency HOA meeting was supposed to be the moment she finally got rid of me. Flyers were slipped under every neighbor's door with bold letters. "Stop the animal invasion." I decided to attend, just for fun. The community hall was packed. Parents, kids, even local reporters were there. Karen stood at the front, her usual power stance in full force, clutching her clipboard like a weapon. "Thank you all for coming," she began. "We are here to address the chaos caused by unauthorized livestock operations at Ms. Taylor's property." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. I stood up slowly. "Karen, if you mean my petting zoo, the one that raised over $3,000 for local shelters last weekend, then yes, guilty as charged." The crowd broke into applause. Karen slammed her hand on the table. "This is not about charity. This is about rules and order. Horses, goats, chickens, this isn't a farm." A little boy in the front row stood up, clutching a stuffed goat toy. "But I like her animals," he said softly. "They make people happy." The room went quiet. Even Karen hesitated. Then, like clockwork, her phone rang. She answered, and her face drained of color. "What do you mean there's a crowd?" Everyone turned as the doors opened. Outside, dozens of parents and kids stood holding signs that read, "Save the petting zoo," and "We love Sunny Trail." Local news cameras followed. Karen looked trapped. "This is private HOA business." She barked at the reporters. One journalist replied, "Actually, ma'am, the public has a right to know when community leaders try to shut down a legal, family-friendly operation." The HOA board members shifted uncomfortably. One leaned toward the mic. "Given the community's overwhelming support and Ms. Taylor's full compliance with the law, I move that we allow the petting zoo to remain open." "Seconded," shouted someone in the crowd. Karen's jaw dropped. "You can't do this. I'm the HOA chair." "Not anymore," another board member said flatly. "Effective immediately. You're removed from your position for abuse of authority." The hall erupted in cheers. Karen's face went redder than a stop sign. She grabbed her clipboard, stormed out the door, and peeled out of the parking lot, tires screeching. I couldn't help but smile. 2 days later, the local paper ran the headline, "HOA leader ousted after trying to ban beloved petting zoo." Business boomed. Daisy and Thunder got more carrots than they could eat. Kids laughed, parents relaxed, and my ranch finally became what I'd always dreamed it would be, a place full of life. Karen, on the other hand, moved 2 towns over. Last I heard, her new HOA doesn't even allow bird feeders. I guess some people never learn.